Hi, we are back for another tasty meal. Tonight we're gonna make lasagna, and this is definitely a level 2+ meal because it takes quite a bit of ingredients and a lot of mixing and simmering and all kinds of stuff. So not just a normal 2 meal, it's a 2.3 meal. Anyway, got the pan heating up here, so we're gonna have a pound of Italian sweet sausage, and we have a pound of actually ground turkey, but you can use ground beef. And then we're gonna have some marinara sauce we're gonna mix in, a bunch of different cheeses. We've got roughly chopped mushrooms. We've got some parsley, some eggs. All that's gonna get all put together sooner or later when we'll have lasagna. But I will warn you ahead of time, this takes a really long time to make. You gotta simmer this stuff. Once you get the meat going, it takes about 2 hours to simmer it. And then you have to do some more stuff and bake it and another 30 minutes. And so if you're gonna have it for dinner, start like at noon to get it going, or maybe 2 o'clock. But you wanna give yourself time. Don't start out thinking, oh, I'll just make this, whip this up here before dinner at 5 o'clock, because you're not gonna be eating until midnight. So, all right, here we go. So we're going to put in the pound of, the pan's already hot, so you'll probably hear it sizzle as soon as I put it in there. Yep. Pound of ground turkey. We've got pound of Italian sausage. That's a thick wrapper. And now we're going to break it all up, let it start browning. You can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me over the hiss and sizzle of the meat. But we're going to let this brown up. It'll take 10 minutes or so to brown up. When we get back, we'll start adding the different spices and stuff in. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, we are lightly browned on the meat here, all crumbled up. For the most part, the entire time we've been gone, I've been just kind of breaking it up, flipping it over, making sure it's all getting evenly browned, not leaving any uncooked meat in there. So we're going to now add some of the spices, a little flavoring to it. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt in. And then about a half a teaspoon of pepper. Pepper, and I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I'm going to go a little more than just a half teaspoon there. Going to mix that all up. We also need to put in our mushrooms. Throw in our mushrooms. Mix that all up in there. All right. Let that kind of cook in for a few. All right, we let that simmer, actually a little more than simmer, until the bottom of the pan is pretty dry down there. So we now need to put in, I'll reduce this down to a simmering heat. And we're going to put in 4 cups of marinara. Now, I'm using store-bought. If you want to take this to a level 3 and make your own marinara, we can do this a little easier. So we're just using the store-bought. I'm sure purists would be aghast at that, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You say to rinse out the marinara sauce with a little water. Add that to the liquid. All right, I'm going to mix that all together and let that simmer for about 2 hours. A long time. That's why I said start early if you're going to have lasagna for dinner. All right, get that all mixed in there. That is going to little simmering action. I will put on a lid to do that a little better, and also to make sure that it's not bubbling and popping and throwing tomato sauce everywhere, because it will. Okay, and now we're going to do the cheese mixture while we're waiting for that to simmer. It won't take 2 hours for the cheese mixture, but through the magic of video, we'll come back when everything's all ready. So anyway, we're going to put in 2 eggs, which I've already beaten up here. We're going to put in, so they say ricotta cheese. There was no ricotta cheese at the store. Cottage cheese is a really good substitute for ricotta cheese. They both come a mild cheese, so you can add in cottage cheese as opposed to ricotta cheese if you want to, which I'm going to, just because that's all I had, the option I had. We're going to put in 2 pounds. That's 24 ounces. 2 pounds would be about 32 ounces. So we're going to put in just a little more. Another third of this cottage cheese here. We're going to put in 2/3 of a cup of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. We're going to put in 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And the last thing is about 1/4 cup of parsley chopped up. So we're going to say, ooh, that's probably 1/4 cup. We'll see, maybe a little more. Keep those fingers back, boys and girls. No fingertips in dinner. That's probably a little more than 1/4 cup, but that's okay. Nobody's counting. If you are counting, stop it. All right, in goes the parsley. Now we mix it all together. We're also going to put in a teaspoon of salt. This kind of all combined. So another teaspoon of salt here. And a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. To the cheese sauce. Get that all mixed up. right, so the one cheese mixture is done here. And we're going to end up putting a little more Parmesan and mozzarella on later. But in the meantime, we're done with the cottage cheese. We can put that away. And now you can see potentially our little sauce is bubbling away. It's simmering, which it's supposed to be doing for the next 2 hours. So in about 10 minutes before we come back, I'm going to start my lasagna noodles boiling, so that when we come back, you're not just sitting there watching noodles boil. So we'll have that ready to go. About the time we come back here, the meat will be done. We'll be getting ready to put it all together to make some incredibly good lasagna. We made this a couple weeks ago, and we immediately said we need to do that again. It was really good. So we'll see you when this is ready to go. All right, it has been hours, days since we started this whole thing, but to you it's only been seconds. All right, we've got the meat that's been simmering for, meat sauce has been simmering for 2 hours. And in the meantime, I've also had the noodles already boiled. The lasagna noodles were boiled. They've been drained over here. And then you set aside them in cold water so that they are able to kind of firm up just a little bit. You want to cook them not completely soft. Package says about 15 minutes, 12 minutes. You do it about 8 minutes. You want them still a little bit firm because they're going to end up baking in the oven after this whole thing. So you don't want to get too much. And I've got the oven preset for 375. So now we start putting all this together. All right, my cameraman will probably need to come over on this side to be able to see this better, but okay, we're going to turn off meat sauce. We're going to get a couple things out of the way here so that we can do this a little less messily. So we do about 1/4 of the meat sauce for first. So if you look at the pan, I'm going to try to divide this into about 1/4. It's going to obviously slop around when I dole it out, but we'll roughly do about 1/4 of the meat sauce. And spread that across the bottom of your lasagna dish, which this is an 11 by 15, I believe, is what I end up getting. So you want a pretty big one. Put the meat sauce, and then after that, we're going to top that with the 1/3 of the noodles. So bring a bowl of cooked noodles over here. And we're going to gently lay these in. I'm going to kind of squeeze off a little bit of the water. Again, gently, don't want to tear these things apart. And you'll see that I'm going to have to do a little bit of tearing. Actually, probably it's a little bit easier, and I'm going to cut one of the noodles here to get the end of the bowl, end of the pan, dish, whatever it is. So I can cut one of the noodles kind of into 4ths and cover that. And then I'm going to put about 1/3 of cheese that we made. And carefully spread that across a nice even layer. Kind of do it gently so that the noodles don't go squishing all around here. A little more in that layer. Spread it as evenly as we can. Then, next layer of meat sauce. Spread that around evenly. We do this a couple more times, so we'll spread that. Next layer of noodles. I'll start this in this time. Take another piece of noodle here and cut it into fourths again. Throw those down onto that end. And oops. Oh, I made a mistake. Cheese next. Cheese next. Okay, won't be a big deal because it's all going to be mushed together anyway, but I'll do cheese. Spread that. It's just gonna have to get mixed in with the sauce I put on there by accident. It's okay, it all gets eaten together. It doesn't matter if it's not pretty at the first. Alright, now the meat sauce. Make sure to get that spread nice and evenly. And then one more time. Noodle. 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 And noodle. One, that one. And last bit of cheese mixture. Cheese mixture first this time instead of the meat in there. Spread it out. And then the last of the meat mixture on top of that. All right, so we've got that, all the mixtures spread out. And the last bit is you take about 4 ounces of mozzarella cheese. It's an 8-ounce bag, so this is about half was left in here. Another meal we made. Spread the mozzarella around the top. On the floor, wherever it can go. I'm sure our dogs will like the mozzarella on the floor. All right, and then the very last is about half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Same stuff we used in the mixture. And that goes across the top, just like that. Sure, just kind of spread out there. Okay, so this is all set up. Now, what the recipe calls for is to get a little bit of tin foil. Get it out of this little holder here. Put it across the top. You want to tent it so it's not sitting on the cheese. You want it all sticking to the top of the thing. So a little bit off the top. But you're going to cover it like so. And then put it in the oven. 375-degree oven. All right, it sits there for about 30 minutes to bake, and then after about 30 minutes or so, we're going to take the tin foil off and let it cook for about another 20 minutes, and then it should be all set. So we started this meal 2.5 hours ago, over, and we still have another almost hour to go. So start early, okay? So we'll be back, I'll check this in about 20 minutes, see how it's doing, and go from there. We're back to the final part here. So while you were away, at about 20 minutes. I took the tin foil off that we intended it with. Let it bake for about another half an hour. And now we have, hopefully, a beautiful lasagna. And I also notice, so it's starting to boil over a little bit, bubble over with the cheese and stuff. So I put a baking sheet underneath it so that the bottom of the oven wouldn't get completely disgusting. So we're gonna turn off the oven because this looks like it's done to me. Yeah. Bring it out, put it up there. Let that go for a minute. And there we have a beautiful bubbling golden brown lasagna. So what we have to do is let this sit for about 20 minutes. And then we'll be able to slice it and have a piece. It's 8:30 at night right now, so we're not going to be having it tonight. We already had our dinner. This has been made so that over the week we can have lunch and or leftovers for meals at night or whatever. So we're all done with our lasagna. As you see, it's a little more complicated than my standard level 2 meals, but well worth it because it's really tasty. So that's it. We will see you next time.